Our first inductee, as I mentioned, is unable to be with us tonight, but is watching from his home in Arizona. Hank is being honored tonight for his amazing career, one that started here in Connecticut. Hank Steinbrecher was part of powerful Mitchell College teams in the 1960s. He continued to play men's soccer in Connecticut for the New Britain Soccer Club before rising to the highest level of U.S. soccer and becoming one of the most consequential leaders of our national teams and world soccer. Hank has always remembered his Connecticut roots and has been a true friend to our state throughout his career. He has been inducted into numerous other halls of fame for good reason. As the Secretary General of the United States Soccer Federation for 10 years, Hank was a leader in organizing U.S. national teams for a string of major events, including 2 men's World Cups, 3 women's World Cups, 2 Copa Americas, 5 CONCACAF Gold Cups, and 3 Olympic Games. Essentially, being at the heart of the game in our country as it rose onto the world stage and became a professional sport in America. There are few people who have impacted soccer in our country more than Hank Steinbrecher, and while he is unable to attend, we have a Mitchell College teammate, lifelong friend, and 2017 inductee Wolfgang Wuschke here to accept his induction. And at Hank's request, I'm also inviting some very close friends, Gary and Greg Swanson and Neil Roberts, to join Wolf at the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, for his incredible contributions to world and American soccer and his development here in Connecticut, we now induct Hank Steinbrecher into the Connecticut Soccer Hall of Fame. Oh, you got it. Double on me. Bless you. Bless you. You guys can, we'll step out here. You can direct us, Casey.
All right, go to your right.
We gotta go this way.
To the right, to the right.
She's like a true.
Well, if you think that's all that Hank did, I have a couple more things I want to add to all of that. Having attended a handful of different Soccer Hall of Fame award ceremonies, the Connecticut Soccer Hall of Fame always stands out for its professionalism and organizational leadership, headed by Pat Henning in the past, and now by Bill Duffy. On behalf of Hank and his family, Ruth Ann, his beautiful and intelligent wife, his sons, Corey, the doctor, and Chad, the Navy SEAL, thank you for the selection committee for inducting Hank into the Connecticut Soccer Hall of Fame. Let me take you back to the 60s, 1964 to be exact. My first encounter with Hank Steinbrecher when we were both in high school on Long Island, playing against each other. Him playing on a notorious tough neighborhood called Levittown at that time period. Very tough neighborhood, very tough soccer players, as you can imagine. Hank was a fearless center back, myself a forward. We ended up winning 2-1, myself scoring both goals. Hank came up to me after the game, not happy. He said to me, "Wolfgang, or Wolfie, or whatever they call you, next time you will not be able to score a goal against me." He had a point. My legs were pretty bruised up. We played again that year. He was almost right. Hank fouled me with no time left to play. I took the penalty kick. We won 1-0. Our friendship began. We ended up playing together in the New York German-American Junior League, losing to the German-Hungarians in the final of the National Junior Cup that year. Werner Roth captained that team, as he also captained the New York Cosmos with Pelé and Beckenbauer. We did have a celebrity player on our team. His name was Bob Trump, the younger brother of President Trump. Two completely different personalities. Bob captained the Boston University team for 2 years and was also the most valuable player for those 2 years. And he passed away a couple of years ago. A great soccer player, great person. Next step for Hank was Mitchell College, where he learned the meaning of honor and integrity under Warren Swanson. He worked his way through Mitchell by babysitting for Gary and Greg Swanson, who have now grown up a little bit. He continued his soccer activities at David Elkins College, winning the national championship. He then coached at Warren Wilson College, where now the sport complex is named after Hank. He was then hired by the Quaker Oats Company as a director of sports marketing. Hank was successful in placing Gatorade in all major sports leagues at that time period, not just soccer, basketball, football, baseball. Our paths crossed again in preparation for the 2006 World Cup in Germany. We both worked for International Sports and Entertainment, responsible for hospitality and sales of tickets for all venues. A very complex operation involving the watchful eyes of FIFA on a daily basis. Our headquarters were in Frankfurt. Hank was the chief operating officer, myself the managing director. This is when I saw Hank at his best. Hank's monthly presentations to FIFA staff, at that time including Platter, and world soccer leaders, including Pelé and Beckenbauer, was something special to witness. Hank's speeches were always full of passion and inspiration in reference to soccer. Hank received a phone call one evening as we were walking through Frankfurt, looking for a place to get something to eat and drink, beer. He received the news that he was going to be inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Of course, I had to ask the question, as a player? He laughed and he said, "Now, Wolfgang, you know, I was just a hacker out there." Hank was inducted as a builder. That induction established Hank as a lasting legacy in the history and structure of soccer in the USA. Also, since 1913, the National Amateur Cup has been renamed the Hank Steinbrecher Cup. It is because of people like Hank, whose shoulders we are standing on, that brought us a third FIFA World Cup to America in 2026, preceded by the men's 1994 and the women's 1999 World Cup. Hank's health is at the end stage, heart and kidney disease and Parkinson's disease. But his spirit to live and to tell soccer stories of the past has not diminished, as he still does today. I would like to end with a funny soccer joke. Not a joke, really what took place. This is dating back in the early years of the Bayern Munich team with national players like Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Müller, and the goalie Sepp Maier. Beckenbauer was known to score goals for his team and against his team in the early years in the same game. On one occasion, Beckenbauer scored a beautiful header on his own goal with Maier in the goal, losing the game 3-2. Keeping in mind, Sepp Maier was the clown of the Munich team, as he was for the national team. In the locker room after the game, the coach and players discussed what went wrong and what needs to be improved for the next game. Being a comedian, Sepp Maier asked the question, "Well, who's going to cover Beckenbauer in the next game?" That broke the depressing mood in the locker room. I have another one. these I guess not jokes, they're really what took place, but they are kind of funny. This has to do with Hank. After the U.S. men's soccer team, they played the World Cup in Italy in 1990, I believe. They lost to Czechoslovakia 5-1. And after the game, Pelé came up to Hank and said to Hank, "Hey, Hank, your defense is like Swiss cheese." One more, this is the last one, and it's also about Hank. Last month, and Hank called me after this, last month Hank had some testing procedures done in a hospital. And he was being rolled into the testing room, pretty much half unconscious already. And the technicians in there, they were getting ready, setting him up for different tests that had to be taken. And at that time, they were playing music. You know, there wasn't a patient in there yet. So as they rolled Hank into the testing room, the song was playing "Stairways to Heaven." Hank took it with humor, obviously, because he told me about it afterwards. Hank, I hope you're watching. I hope you're awake still. And I love you. Thank you very much.